we were talking on our hike earlier today about things you see moms do with boys that frustrate you, and how the effect it has on them. We've kind of been going around this a little bit, so maybe we already covered it, but are there any more things in particular that you have witnessed and see moms do with boys, especially as they get older, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and in many mom's defense, oftentimes the dad isn't there, doesn't want to be there, and so she's like, well, what do I do?
Right.
Because he's not here and not around. But the hard, cold math is the older the kids get, the less they need mom and the more they need dad.
Yeah.
They have to have dad.
Yeah.
And so we were talking on our hike about things you're seeing moms do that just kind of frustrate you and the outcome of it. The boys aren't competitive. The boys aren't aggressive. The boys, because in order to live under the rule of their mom, they can't be those things. I'm saying all of them for you.
That's right.
So good.
What were you going to say?
So good.
Yeah.
Next up.
Very true.
Y'all keep mistaking my enthusiasm for an interjection.
Well, normally you like to talk, so in our defense, you do like to talk.
If y'all would stop saying really good stuff, I would speak more. But right now, I'm just kind of the amen guy. I'm like,
Really good.
yes. I'm just Ric Flair over here.
Perfect.
So no, baby, just take it.
What are some things that John has done to help you be a better mama boys?
Ooh. I wanted to hear your answer the first one too.
Yeah. Sorry, I had the first
Well, okay.
answer
Yeah,
ready.
give me the
but then
answer.
Yeah, you
Pivot.
switched.
My
you
bad.
pivoted. Sorry, my brain.
I want to hear
glitched.
both of those, but the first one was, what do you see
question
moms?
was, what do you see moms do? that are
Oh,
better?
yeah. Okay. So I'll go with maybe they are too rigid or they're too lax. So if they're too rigid, they've overscheduled the boy into submission. He has, no free time, no input,
Violin, soccer, school.
There's just too much. Yeah, it's too much, too often, too hard. He's just done, right?
Yeah.
So he's conquered that way. His spirit is stifled out, or he's medicated, just whatever it is, or he's just out. And then there's the too lax where maybe he's isolated from other, like we were talking about, stronger men examples or other stronger boy peers. He's just with mom more or just with family members that aren't the best influence, or they've just resigned to let him do
Literally
video
names
games,
and faces passed
TV.
through your mind right there. I just saw it.
We know.
Bob and Janice.
Well, a different story
Bob?
popped through.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the story of our boys.
Yeah, or the too lax. Yeah, tell the story. Too lax, maybe he's just lost that drive and motivation in video games, or he's just not applying himself at all. Or like we said in sports, it's like, way to go, buddy. Good job. It's about fun. Let's get out there and have fun. And they just stand there.
No competition. This was my story direction.
You gotta try. You signed up for the sport and you're literally a statue. It is just I
Playing with a
don't
clover.
get it. I don't get it.
Looking at a butterfly.
Yeah. So two ways to just kill the heart and spirit of your boy. Either they're just dead tired from all that you've arranged for them, or you've never pushed them to do anything. So where's the good medium? Where's the challenge and the risk and the courage and the sacrifice? Like you got to push them, right? But also give them that freedom and independence when they're little to play in the woods with sticks and to make imaginary worlds and climb a tree and then work hard as they get older.
Literally, when we drove to film this podcast, we walked out of the house and our kids were laying in the orchard. And I'm like, what are they doing? And they had cloaks and daggers and swords and
Night helmets.
Night helmets. And Gideon turned and said, "Silence, we're filming." And they were filming some like gladiator scene, and there was like 3 kids laying in the orchard. I'm like, well, they're laying in there's snakes, mice.
They're great.
Whatever. We'll kill them if they are.
And they were having the time of their life.
They were having so much fun.
So much imagination and joy.
Yeah. You have moms. Go ahead.
Could not take time to say, goodbye, parents.
No, they were busy.
We're
They're
filming.
on an adventure.
Yes, it was amazing.
They were so busy.
I would say that's one thing that we've observed you guys do really well. My wife is very good at this as well. Is to your point, the best thing that could happen to your sons is they get bored.
Yes, 100%.
Let them be bored.
We can't fear boredom.
Boredom
And
is
then
not
let
bad.
them and then they have to solve the boredom problem.
That's right.
The worst thing you could just say, "Mommy, I'm bored."
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
then fix it.
So that's so easy in our house. Boredom means chores.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
problem, buddy.
Yeah.
I will
We never
assign
hear
you
that.
chores to deal with your boredom. So that's like a reflex. So 0% of the time do we solve your boredom because, and they don't even ask anymore because they do it twice and already of like, hey, boredom means dishes, bud. Thank you for bringing your boredom to me. I will always solve your boredom immediately. No problem. You can wash windows. They will never bring it to you. And then what's happening is they are now they have broken a cardboard box up and they are bobsledding down the back hill on it. And they have been up on it anymore. But what you do when you solve their boredom is you stifle all their creativity. I'm like, no, those creative muscles will carry them through.
That's right.
How to be a good provider and how to be a good leader, asymmetric problem solving. C.S. Lewis would talk about creativity is the real engine behind genius. Paraphrase, but creativity is the genius. Oh, that's Einstein. That's Einstein. Einstein says creativity is the mark of genius. But C.S. Lewis elsewhere talks about the importance of creativity and how it really was the engine that would fuel his later pursuits in his education. It was
and what Sharon's done for that is she's just structured time into the days when they were younger for like downtime. Like nothing's happening from this hour to this hour. And I'd come in the house to be quiet and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, I don't know. Yeah. But they're on their own. And don't bother them.
So good.
And then they've learned to take initiative. They learned, like you say, asymmetric problem solving. And the problem is boredom. Yeah. That's right. And now you got to fix it. And the way they fix it, some of the coolest things they've done. I had no idea that Amelia Claire is a videographer and storyteller and editor, and they write stories and plays and worlds and characters, and then they film it, and it's incredible. They need that time. If you're booking them from one sport to the next, it's just it's training them to become cogs in the wheel.
Absolutely.
Of doing whatever someone else says.
Absolutely.
If the only time of their day is highly structured. I read an article by an unbeliever. It was in the Atlantic, which I typically don't read the Atlantic. Sure. But he was talking about like the lost art of the street ball game kind of thing. You know, where he's
so sad. Our streets
out on the road.
Our cul-de-sacs don't have hockey goals set up in them.
He talked about like from a sociological perspective, all the developments happening in those 10 kids when they have to decide who's going to be a captain, pick who's on a team, agree on the rules they're going to play by, and then adhere to those rules as they play. They said if the only games your kids play has an umpire in a blue uniform calling balls and strikes, they're not going to learn to problem solve themselves because here's the deal.
And they're not going to be good on teams.
No, if you're out playing with the kids at night and one kid thinks it's a ball and the other kid thinks it's a strike and they come into an impassable disagreement, and the only way to conclude that is to go home.
Yeah. No more games.
And no one wants that, so you have to figure out the problem. Right. But you raise a bunch of gripers and whiners when you put them around officials who are constantly calling balls and strikes for them that they can just argue about rather than actually problem solve themselves. So less structured sports and more wiffle ball in the backyard is actually better for the kids long haul.
Absolutely.
Bekah was great even when they were little guys. 5 years old. 6 years old, 8 years old, it was time for quiet playtime. And that happened every day between a certain set hours that she had. And so nope, it's quiet playtime. And it might be an hour when they're younger, and then it's 2 hours when they're a little bit old. Now we don't do that because they just disappear into the woods and do whatever, like we got a property or that's an automatic kind of thing that they're constantly doing stuff, just the two of them. But it was structured before of nope, it's quiet playtime. And you go in your room and you can do whatever you want. Within these parameters, you do whatever you want, but you stay in your room for 2 hours until it's done. And usually it's awful. They don't want to go in. And when they come out, they're just happy as clams and they did all this stuff and it's show and tell time and they're so proud and they're so happy. And meanwhile, she got a 2 hour break as a mom. It was good for the kid and it was good for mom and her sanity. And that's just one little example she unpacks in her book of how a lot of parents are struggling under, my son isn't doing well and I'm trying as hard as I can and I love him and I don't know what else to do. I'm like, you're trying hard and you need to make some small adjustments that would have massive impacts and it'd actually be easier to do it this way. And that's just one little example of it.
That's right. Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, you can click here to listen to the full podcast or click in the link below and go wherever you listen to podcasts. And we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. Hopefully you can find us. And if you'd like some more free resources, you can head to strongermannation.com.